My wife said she needed to cancel our anniversary trip to talk to her ex-boyfriend alone. Sure, and I'm the damn Pope. I'm Derrick Mallon, 39 years old, warehouse operations supervisor in Millfield, Maine. I fix things for a living. Broken conveyor belts, busted forklifts, screwed up shipping schedules. What I couldn't fix was my marriage, apparently. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. It's just one conversation, Derrick, Taryn said, not even looking up from her phone as she applied lipstick in our bedroom mirror. Colt needs closure about some old business between us. Closure. Right. At 8 o'clock on a Friday night, dressed in that black dress I bought her for Christmas, the one that hugged every curve like a second skin. What kind of closure requires you to dress like you're going to seduce someone? I asked, leaning against the doorframe. She finally looked at me, her green eyes flashing with irritation. Don't be paranoid, Derrick. It's just dinner. We'll talk, clear the air, and that's it. And our trip to Bar Harbor? We can go another weekend. Another weekend. We'd planned this trip for 3 months. Booked the fancy hotel, made dinner reservations at that seafood place she'd been wanting to try. But Colt Rainer snaps his fingers, and suddenly our anniversary doesn't matter. I watched her grab her purse and keys. Don't wait up, she said, pecking my cheek like I was her brother. The front door slammed, and I stood there in our bedroom, staring at the mess she'd left behind. Discarded clothes on the bed, makeup scattered across the dresser, the faint smell of her expensive perfume lingering in the air. That's when I noticed her tablet on the nightstand. Taryn never went anywhere without that thing. She used it for work, for shopping, for everything. The fact that she'd left it behind was either a massive oversight or she didn't want me seeing what was on it. My gut told me it was the latter. I picked it up and swiped the screen. No password. She'd always trusted me completely. The irony wasn't lost on me. Her email was open, and right there at the top was a message thread with Colt Rainer. The subject line made me freeze. Tonight's plan. I clicked it open and started reading. Colt, can't wait to see you tonight. It's been too long. Taryn, I know. I've been thinking about our last time together constantly. Colt, my place at 8? I'll order that wine you like. Taryn, perfect. I told Derrick it was just closure. He bought it completely. Colt, poor bastard. Does he know about the hotel receipts? Taryn, God no. He'd lose his mind if he knew we'd been meeting for 3 months. 3 months. 3 goddamn months. I scrolled up through their message history, my hands shaking as I read. Photos, explicit messages, details about their secret meetings at the Ocean View Inn 2 towns over, plans for tonight that had nothing to do with closure and everything to do with betrayal. My wife of 8 years was having an affair, and she thought I was too stupid to figure it out. I set the tablet down carefully and walked to our home office. Time to do what I did best, fix a problem. First, I logged into our joint bank account and transferred my entire salary to a separate account I'd opened years ago for emergencies. Turned out this qualified. Next, I pulled up our phone plan online. Taryn didn't know I had access to the family locator feature. 2 little dots on a map showed exactly where she and Colt were right now, his apartment on Elm Street, just like the messages said. I took screenshots of everything, the messages, the location data, the hotel receipts I found in a hidden folder on her tablet. Evidence. In my line of work, you always documented problems before you fixed them. Then I packed a bag. I left a note on the kitchen counter. Trip's canceled, so is our marriage. By the time Taryn got home from her closure dinner, I was already at Jenna's beach house, drinking beer and planning my next move. Jenna Morrison had been my friend since high school, back when we were both too young and stupid to know what real problems looked like. Now she owned a beach bar called the Rusty Anchor, served the best lobster rolls in 3 counties, and had 0 patience for cheating spouses. That manipulative snake, she said, reading through the screenshots on my phone. 3 months? And she had the balls to cancel your anniversary trip? We were sitting on her deck, watching the sunrise over Penobscot Bay. I'd driven straight here after discovering Taryn's betrayal, needing somewhere safe to think and plan. Colt Rainer, I said, taking a long pull from my coffee mug. Remember him from high school? Muscle-bound asshole who thought he was God's gift to women? Yeah, I remember. Married Maya Hendricks a few years back. Still married, according to his Facebook. Jenna's eyes lit up with understanding. Oh, this is going to be fun. She was right. Maya Rainer deserved to know what kind of man she'd married, just like I deserved to know what kind of woman I'd married. The difference was, I already knew. I spent the morning at Jenna's using her computer to gather intelligence, social media profiles, business records, anything I could find about Colt and his life. The man was a personal trainer who owned a small gym downtown, drove a restored 1967 Camaro he was obsessed with, and posted workout videos that made him look like a complete tool. More importantly, he had a lot to lose. Around noon, my phone started buzzing with calls from Taryn. I let them go to voicemail, listening to her messages get progressively more frantic. Derrick, where are you? Your note doesn't make sense. Derrick, please call me back. We need to talk about this. Derrick, I know you're upset, but you're overreacting. Come home so we can work this out. Overreacting. That was rich. You going to call her back? Jenna asked, refilling my coffee. Eventually. But first, I have a phone call to make. I found Maya Rainer's number in the phone book. She still used her maiden name professionally as a real estate agent. Her office was downtown, just a few blocks from her husband's gym. She answered on the second ring. Maya Hendricks, Coastal Properties. Mrs. Rainer, this is Derrick Mallon. I think we need to talk about our spouses. There was a long pause. I'm sorry, who is this? Derrick Mallon. My wife is Taryn. I believe she's been having an affair with your husband for the past 3 months. Another pause, longer this time. When she spoke again, her voice was carefully controlled. What makes you think that? I have evidence. Screenshots, hotel receipts, location data. If you'd like to see it, I can meet you somewhere private. The coffee shop on Main Street, 1 hour. She hung up without saying goodbye. Maya Rainer was nothing like I'd expected. Where Colt was all flash and muscles, she was understated elegance. Auburn hair pulled back in a professional bun, sharp business suit, intelligent brown eyes that missed nothing. She looked through the evidence I'd printed out with the same methodical attention I used when diagnosing a broken machine. No tears, no dramatics, just cold analysis. How long have you known? She asked finally. Since last night. Found the messages on her tablet. And you came to me instead of confronting them directly. Seemed like the right thing to do. You deserve to know. She nodded slowly. I've suspected something for weeks. He's been working late, taking calls in private, spending money we don't have. I just didn't want to believe it. What do you want to do about it? Maya smiled, and it was sharp enough to cut glass. I want to destroy him. We spent the next hour planning. Maya knew Colt's weaknesses better than anyone. His pride, his precious car, his reputation at the gym. She also knew his schedule, his habits, his fears. He's terrified of public embarrassment, she said. Always worried about what people think of him. It's why he works out obsessively, why he posts those ridiculous videos online. And Taryn? Leave her to me. I know exactly how to handle women like your wife. By the time we left the coffee shop, we had a plan. It wasn't going to be quick, and it wasn't going to be clean, but it was going to be thorough. My phone buzzed with another call from Taryn. This time, I answered. Derrick, thank God. Where have you been? I've been worried sick. Have you now? Of course I have. You left that crazy note and disappeared. What's this about canceling our marriage? Gee, I don't know, Taryn. Maybe it has something to do with your 3-month affair with Colt Rainer. Silence. I don't know what you're talking about, she said finally. Hotel receipts from the Ocean View Inn, text messages about wine and private meetings, location data showing you at his apartment last night instead of having a closure dinner. More silence. Derrick, I can explain. No need. I've already explained everything to Maya Rainer. Lovely woman, by the way. Much smarter than her husband. You told his wife? I told his wife. I also moved our money, changed the locks on the house, and canceled our joint credit cards. Oh, and I forwarded all your messages to your boss at the insurance company. Thought she might be interested in knowing how you spend your work hours. You can't do this. Already did. Have a nice life, Taryn. I hung up and turned to Jenna, who'd been listening with obvious delight. Phase 1 complete, I said. Now the real fun begins. The Dockyard was the kind of bar where working men went to forget their problems and create new ones. Dark wood, cheap beer, and a bartender named Bill who knew everyone's business and wasn't shy about sharing it. Word traveled fast in a town like Millfield. By the time I walked in Tuesday evening, half the bar already knew about Taryn's affair and my dramatic exit. Derrick Mallon, Bill called out as I approached the bar. Heard you gave your cheating wife the old heave-ho. Good for you, buddy. News travels fast. Faster when Maya Rainer's involved. That woman's been making the rounds, telling everyone what a piece of shit her husband is. Showed pictures and everything. I ordered a beer and listened to the gossip flowing around me. Maya had been busy. She'd visited Colt's gym, his favorite restaurants, even the auto parts store where he bought supplies for his precious Camaro. By now, half the town knew he was a cheating bastard. Where's Colt been hiding? I asked Bill. Haven't seen him since Sunday. Word is he's laying low, trying to figure out how to salvage his reputation. That was about to get a lot harder. I finished my beer and drove to Elm Street, parking across from Colt's apartment building. His Camaro was in its usual spot, gleaming under the streetlight like a trophy. The car was Colt's pride and joy. He'd spent 3 years restoring it, posted hundreds of photos online, even entered it in car shows. It was also completely unguarded. I'd brought supplies from the warehouse. Nothing illegal, nothing that would cause permanent damage, but definitely something that would send a message. First, I wrapped the entire engine block in plastic wrap, making sure to cover every surface. It wouldn't hurt anything, but it would take hours to remove and make the car impossible to start. Next, I removed the air filter and placed a small, rotten fish inside the housing. The smell would be unbearable within days. Finally, I left a note under the windshield wiper. Some trips get canceled, some cars get detailed. Note D. By the time I got back to Jenna's place, I was feeling better than I had in months. "You're enjoying this way too much," Jenna said, watching me grin as I told her about the car. "Damn right I am. For 3 months, they thought I was too stupid to figure out what was happening. Time to show them exactly how stupid I'm not." My phone rang. Taryn again. "What do you want?" "Derrick, please, we need to talk. I made a mistake, but we can work through this." "A mistake? 3 months of hotel meetings and texting is a mistake?" "It meant nothing. It was just, I don't know, excitement, something different." "Well, here's something different. You're single now. You can't just throw away 8 years of marriage. Watch me." I hung up and turned off the phone. Tomorrow was going to be an interesting day. I was right. By Wednesday afternoon, Colt had discovered his car, and the story was all over town. Maya made sure of that, posting photos on Facebook with the caption, "When you cheat on your wife, sometimes karma comes with a side of fish." But the real entertainment came Thursday evening at the dockyard. I was having dinner with Jenna when 3 guys I didn't recognize walked in. Big guys, gym rats, all wearing matching tank tops with Rainer Fitness logos. "That's him," one of them said, pointing at me. "That's the psycho who messed with Colt's car." They approached our table with the kind of swagger that screamed trouble. The leader, a bald guy with arms like tree trunks, leaned down and got in my face. "You think you're real funny, don't you, asshole?" "Depends on the joke," I said calmly. "Vandalizing someone's car isn't a joke. It's a crime." "Good thing I didn't vandalize anything then. A plastic wrap isn't vandalism. It's gift wrapping." Jenna snorted with laughter, which didn't improve the mood. "You think this is funny, Snake?" "That was a mistake." I stood up slowly, and even though these guys outweighed me by 50 pounds each, I had something they didn't. 8 years of dealing with drunk warehouse workers and bar fights. "Apologize to the lady," I said quietly. "Or what?" "Or I'll show you what real vandalism looks like." The bald guy took a swing at me. I saw it coming from a mile away, telegraphed like a Western Union message. I ducked, grabbed his wrist, and used his momentum to slam him face first into our table. His friends moved in, but I was already moving. I grabbed a bar stool and swung it in a wide arc, not trying to hit anyone but creating space. The crowd in the bar was backing up, giving us room. "Enough!" Bill shouted from behind the bar. "Take it outside, or I'm calling the cops." The gym rats helped their friend up and glared at me. "This isn't over," the bald guy said, red liquid running from his nose. "Yes, it is," I replied, "unless you want to explain to the police why you assaulted someone over plastic wrap." They left, muttering threats and promises of revenge. The bar erupted in cheers and applause. "Drinks are on the house," Bill announced. "Anyone who stands up to Colt Rainer's goons drinks free tonight." I sat back down, adrenaline still pumping through my system. Jenna was looking at me with something that might have been admiration. "That was either really brave or really stupid," she said. "Probably both." My phone buzzed with a text from Maya. "Heard about the bar fight. Colt's furious. Time for phase 2? I texted back, "Absolutely." Maya's plan was elegant in its simplicity. Colt worked at his gym every Saturday morning, training his regular clients. The place would be packed with witnesses, and he'd be trapped behind the front desk with nowhere to run. I walked into Rainer Fitness at exactly 10 a.m., carrying a manila folder full of printed evidence. The gym was busy. Dozens of people working out, music pumping, the smell of sweat and ambition thick in the air. Colt was behind the reception desk, talking to a client about workout schedules. He looked up when I approached, and his face went pale. "We need to talk," I said loudly enough for nearby people to hear. "I'm busy," he replied, not meeting my eyes. "I'm sure you are. Busy screwing other men's wives." The gym got quieter. People were starting to pay attention. "Look, man, I don't want any trouble," Colt said. "Too late for that." I opened the folder and pulled out a stack of photos. These are pictures of hotel receipts, Ocean View Inn, room 237, every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 months. I spread them across the reception desk where everyone could see. This is a printout of text messages between you and my wife, discussing your affair in explicit detail. More papers hit the desk. And this is a photo of you and Taryn taken last Tuesday by the hotel's security camera. The final photo landed on top of the pile. It showed Colt and Taryn in a passionate embrace outside the hotel room door. The gym was completely silent now. Everyone was staring at us. "You destroyed my marriage," I said. 8 years down the drain because you couldn't keep your hands off another man's wife. Derrick, Shut up. I'm not done. I pulled out my phone and opened the voice recorder app. "I want you to apologize, right here, right now, in front of all these people. I want you to admit what you did and say you're sorry." Colt looked around at the crowd of witnesses, his face red with embarrassment. "I can't do that." "Why not? Afraid your clients will find out what kind of man you really are? Please, just leave. We can talk about this privately. Like you and my wife talked privately? No thanks." That's when Maya walked through the front door. She was dressed for business. Sharp suit, heels that clicked on the gym floor like gunshots, carrying a briefcase that probably contained divorce papers. "Hello, Colt," she said sweetly. "Having a nice conversation?" Colt looked like he was about to throw up. "Maya, what are you doing here?" "Supporting my new friend Derrick. We've become quite close since we discovered what our spouses have been up to." She walked over to the reception desk and looked down at the evidence I'd spread out. My. These photos are quite revealing, aren't they? Especially this one." She held up the security camera photo. "You can see everything. The hotel room number, the timestamp, even that stupid tattoo on your shoulder." "Maya, please..." "Please what? Please don't embarrass you in front of your clients. Please don't let everyone know you're a cheating piece of garbage." The crowd was eating this up. People were pulling out phones, recording everything. "You want an apology, Derrick?" Maya asked. "I'll get you an apology." She reached into her briefcase and pulled out a thick stack of papers. "These are divorce papers, Colt. I'm taking the house, the cars, half your business, and everything else I can legally grab. Unless what? Unless you get down on your knees, right here in front of everyone, and apologize to Derrick for destroying his marriage." Colt's face went from red to purple. I'm not getting on my knees." "Then enjoy being poor." Maya started to put the papers back in her briefcase, but Colt grabbed her arm. Wait. He looked around at the crowd, at the phones recording him, at the evidence spread across his desk. Then he looked at me. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. Louder, I said. "I'm sorry." "For what?" For having an affair with your wife." Still not loud enough. "And get on your knees like the lady asked." Colt hesitated for a long moment, then slowly dropped to his knees behind the reception desk. The crowd gasped and murmured. "I'm sorry, Derrick Mallon," he shouted. "I'm sorry for having an affair with your wife. I'm sorry for destroying your marriage." The gym erupted in shocked whispers and nervous laughter. Phones were recording from every angle. "There," Maya said, satisfied. That wasn't so hard, was it?" She turned to me. "I believe our business here is finished." We walked out together, leaving Colt kneeling behind his desk in front of a gym full of witnesses and cameras. "Think that'll be on social media by tonight?" I asked. "I'd be disappointed if it wasn't," Maya replied. My phone rang as we reached the parking lot. Taryn, of course. "Derrick, what the hell did you just do?" "Justice. Colt called me crying. He said you humiliated him in front of his entire gym." "Good. He humiliated me for 3 months. Turnabout's fair play." "This has gone too far. You need to stop this crazy revenge fantasy and come home so we can work things out." "Work things out? Taryn, you cheated on me for 3 months. You canceled our anniversary trip to screw another woman's husband. What exactly is there to work out?" "I told you it was a mistake." "The only mistake was mine, marrying you in the first place." I hung up and turned to Maya. "Ready for the grand finale?" "What did you have in mind?" "Saturday night, the Harvest Festival. Half the town will be there." Maya smiled. "Perfect." The Millfield Harvest Festival was the biggest event of the year. Main Street was closed to traffic, lined with booths selling everything from apple cider to handmade crafts. A stage was set up in front of the town hall for local bands and announcements. I'd been planning this moment for a week, coordinating with Maya, Jenna, and even Bill from the dockyard. Everyone in town would be here, including Taryn and Colt. I found them near the beer tent, trying to keep a low profile. Taryn was wearing sunglasses despite the overcast sky, probably to hide the fact that she'd been crying. Colt looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Enjoying the festival?" I asked, walking up behind them. They spun around, both looking guilty as hell. "Derrick," Taryn said. "I didn't expect to see you here." "Really? This is my town too. I've lived here my whole life." "Look, man," Colt said. "About what happened at the gym?" "What about it?" "You apologized, remember? Got down on your knees in front of everyone." His face flushed red. "You humiliated me." "You humiliated yourself. I just provided the audience." People were starting to notice us, gathering around to watch the drama unfold. Word spread quickly through the crowd. The cheated husband was confronting his wife and her lover. "This needs to stop," Taryn said. "We're all adults here. We can handle this maturely." "Maturely," I laughed. "You want to talk about maturity? Let's do that." I pulled out my phone and opened the photo gallery. "Ladies and gentlemen," I called out, loud enough for the growing crowd to hear, "gather around for a little show." More people pressed closer, sensing drama. "My wife Taryn here wants to discuss maturity, so let's discuss it." I held up my phone, showing the screen to the crowd. "This is a text message she sent to her lover 3 weeks ago. It says, and I quote, 'Can't wait to feel you inside me again. Derrick is working late, so we have all night.'" Gasps and murmurs rippled through the crowd. Taryn went pale. "Derrick, stop," she whispered. "Why? You weren't worried about privacy when you were screwing around behind my back." I swiped to the next photo. "This one's from Colt. Your husband is such a loser. Can't believe you stayed married to him this long." Real mature, right, folks? The crowd was getting bigger, people pulling out their own phones to record the spectacle. "Please," Colt said. "We get it. We screwed up. But this public humiliation—" "Public humiliation," I interrupted. "You mean like the public humiliation I felt when I found out my wife was cheating? When I realized half the town probably knew before I did?" Maya appeared at my side, right on schedule. "Don't forget the financial aspect," she said loudly. "Show them the hotel receipts, Derrick." I pulled out the printed receipts and held them up. 3 months of hotel visits, 47 separate occasions. At $150 per night, that's over $7,000 of marital assets spent on adultery. The crowd was eating this up. People were shaking their heads, making disgusted sounds. "And let's not forget," Maya continued, "that my soon-to-be ex-husband was using our joint credit card to pay for these romantic getaways with another man's wife." Taryn was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. "Please stop this. You're destroying us." "We destroyed ourselves," Colt said quietly. "Finally," I said, "a moment of honesty." Jenna pushed through the crowd, carrying a microphone connected to the festival's PA system. "Thought you might want to address the whole crowd," she said with a grin. I took the microphone and stepped up onto a nearby bench. "Ladies and gentlemen of Millfield," my voice boomed across the festival, "I want to tell you all a story about trust, betrayal, and consequences." The entire festival ground went quiet. Hundreds of people were looking at me now. 8 years ago, I married the woman I thought was the love of my life. I worked hard to provide for her, to build a future together, to honor the vows we made in front of God and our families. I pointed at Taryn, who was trying to disappear into the crowd. 3 months ago, she decided those vows didn't matter. She began an affair with a married man, spending our money on hotel rooms and lying to my face every single day. Boos and angry shouts came from the crowd. They thought I was too stupid to figure it out, too trusting, too naive, too much of a loser, their word, not mine, to catch on. I held up my phone again. But I did catch on, and I documented everything, every lie, every hotel visit, every cruel joke they made about me behind my back. The crowd was completely silent now, hanging on every word. So here's what I want everyone to know. Actions have consequences. Betrayal has a price, and sometimes that price is paid in public, in front of everyone you know, with nowhere to hide. I stepped down from the bench and handed the microphone back to Jenna. "Some trips get canceled," I said, looking directly at Taryn and Colt. "Some marriages end, and some people get exactly what they deserve." The crowd erupted in applause and cheers. People were patting me on the back, shaking my hand, telling me I'd done the right thing. Taryn and Colt were gone, disappeared into the crowd like the cowards they were. Maya put her arm around my shoulders. "Feel better?" "Getting there." "Good, because I have one more surprise for you." She led me through the crowd to the parking lot, where Colt's restored Camaro was parked, the same car I'd wrapped in plastic wrap a week ago, except now it was covered in bumper stickers. "Honk if I'm a cheater. My other car is my wife's trust. Just divorced, Wife kept everything, and my personal favorite, I apologized on my knees, and all I got was this lousy divorce. Maya, I said, you are an artist. I had help. Turns out a lot of people in this town don't like cheaters. We stood there admiring the handiwork as people walked by, reading the stickers and laughing. My phone rang one last time. Taryn. Hello, Taryn. Are you satisfied now? She asked. Her voice was hollow, defeated. Almost. What else could you possibly want? You've destroyed our reputations, humiliated us in front of the entire town, cost Colt his business. His business? Half his clients canceled after the gym incident, the other half canceled after tonight. Shame. Derrick, I know I hurt you. I know I made terrible mistakes, but this is cruel. You know what's cruel, Taryn? Betraying someone who loved you unconditionally, lying to their face every day for 3 months, spending their money on hotel rooms with your lover, making jokes about how stupid and trusting they are. Silence. You want to know if I'm satisfied? Ask me in a year when you're both still dealing with the consequences of your choices. Ask me when everyone in town still remembers this night. Ask me when you realize that some things can't be fixed with tears and apologies. I loved you, she whispered. No, you didn't. If you'd loved me, none of this would have happened. I hung up and turned off the phone. Maya was watching me with concern. You okay? I'm perfect. And for the first time in months, I actually meant it. We walked back toward the festival, where Jenna was waiting with beer and congratulations. The crowd was still buzzing about the confrontation, people coming up to shake my hand and tell me their own stories about cheating spouses and sweet revenge. I looked back once at Colt's vandalized car, then at the festival lights twinkling in the darkness, then at the friends who'd stood by me through the worst betrayal of my life. Some trips get canceled, some marriages end, some people get exactly what they deserve. But sometimes, just sometimes, the good guys win.